Hey, I'm Scott.
And I'm Chris.
And this is Doxalogic, where we help you think with your Bible.
With this being an election year, conversations, even within our church family, easily turn political. Personally, I see the vote as quote-unquote black and white. One party promotes killing babies and destroying the sanctity of marriage, while the other protects them. Am I wrong to say the choice should be clear for a Christian on how to vote?
No, you're not wrong. You are right, and I'll just try to say it forcefully, because this is how I. And again, the views expressed in the following are the opinion of the person saying them. It doesn't have to be.
This
the opinion
message is approved by Chris Ritter.
This message is so. Particularly this presidential cycle. So I'm going to hem some things in to say. I'm sure there's someone listening who's probably, old enough to have been voting in the 80s and 90s and had some rational reason they voted for some local Democrat at some point. Fine. Not even interested in arguing the historical merits of if that ever was right. But this presidential cycle specifically, by voting for the Democratic nominee, whoever he or she will be, because I do not have a high degree of confidence it will be Joe Biden. This is early June. We shall see. He may or may not even make it to be the nominee. But
this really is
whoever
Chris.
The national candidate is for president of the United States for the Democrats, it's a platform of utter abominable wickedness, only increasingly so. And so you cannot, as a Christian, vote Democrat for the presidential candidate. Again, I'm not even making a comment on local politics everywhere. I have thoughts I'll leave. I just want to say about the presidential candidate. Now, the opposite, voting Republican is not voting for the opposite, as if like you vote Republican and you're voting for the shining perfection of righteousness. You're not. And again, whether it's Donald Trump or if it's someone else, but you are at least voting for the things that will maintain freedoms and that will, at least on record, vote for certain protections, a la abortion and marriage and different things of that nature. And there's more than just the matters around that. So that is, I feel very strongly about that. You cannot, in good conscience, as a Christian, vote Democrat. Can you abstain to vote at all? I would say that's just more or less voting Democrat in this election. I'm not going to bind the conscience to say that you must vote. I think you should. And I think it ought to be for the Republican ticket because it's that important. At the same time, I want to watch myself go too far in terms of like you must vote for this person. There are good reasons why someone does not want to vote for Donald Trump. And yet the Democrat ticket is just, it's unvotable for the Christian today.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the component of like, it's not like the shiny side is the Republican Party or Donald Trump. It's even in some ways gotten worse in terms of the deification, the self-deification, some of the implications behind what Trump is saying and these kind of things. Like it's a mess,
all the way around.
It's a mess all the way around. And so it's we're stuck in a place. This is unfortunate. This is probably something to be said about the devolution of our culture and American culture and those kind of things. These are the two candidates that we have. But you're not saying the other side is like purely upright and moral, and there's atrocious stuff on the other side as well, and there's a godless kind of conservatism that isn't helpful either and stuff. And so it's like you hate that phrase, but the lesser of two evils is a piece of where we are. Yeah. But unfortunately, the distinction in evil is such that certain kinds of evil, like the murdering of unprotected unborn, is so egregious and severe. We're left in a place where, man, what do you do with that? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? And ever increasingly, politics is always the legislating morality, right? But more than ever, these things are moral issues that we're dealing with, and that are some of the biggest platform issues are moral issues and egregiously immoral if gone a certain way. Yeah, it's going to be a wild. It's going to be a wild year. We're going to definitely be doing some doxalogic on this, I'm sure, the future, getting ready for November. Yeah. Christians tend to freak out during this time. Churches tend to freak out, and so we're going to try to navigate that a bit more as we get into the next few months.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll be helpful to the listeners.
You've been listening to Doxalogic, a podcast by Doxa Church in Rockland, California. To learn more, visit us online at doxa.church.